It's good to be back. It is so good to be back. Oh my god, it's been a while. Whew. This feels new. What's now? Channel. And your channel. Live. Of course. So we're back to being live, ladies and gentlemen. As you guys can tell, it has been a while since last time we streamed, of course, because, well, many reasons, what can I tell you? There's so many things that have happened recently, and, you know, can't really do much about it, but we'll be streaming, we'll be do, like, probably 3 videos, so I have something to work on later tonight. What the hell? Oh, my God. Discord just opened up. Alright. So, as usual, we'll start with 0. And hopefully, I don't know. I just want a few things to, like, have while I'm watching this. And, let's see if it works. Alright. Also, I want to do a new thing. A new thing on my channel. I want to call it Monologues Fridays. Monologue Friday, yeah. And I'm going to start it next week. And what is Monologue Friday? Monologue Friday is going to be pretty much... I have a lot of stories. I think, many stories I would like to tell about my life that I think I can make it in a funny way. But there's this one guy that I like watching. His name is Franco Escamilla. He's a Spanish comedian. This Spanish comedian is fucking hilarious. And he makes a living out of just pretty much talking about his life, which I love hearing about. It's just very interesting because he says a lot of funny things. Or, at least I think it's funny, but, you know, the thing is that... the thing is that he's in Spanish, so I can't really, like, show you guys what he says because, you know, obviously it's in Spanish. I can't really just translate it like that. But anyways, we're gonna be watching a few videos today, reacting to, like, kind of things that we used to watch. And yeah, I'm actually very excited to get started again because it has been a while since last time we did something like this. So, man, it's good to be back. It's been like a month since last time I streamed. The whole fucking thing is, bro, I went down to Rochester. Here's the thing about Rochester. Rochester, New York is one of the fucking worst cities you can ever fucking go in. I spent there maybe 2-3 hours parked there on the parking space, right? The parking lot. Bro, let me tell you. 2 to 3 hours later, the entire fucking car is gone. The fucking entire fucking car. I come back, my car is there. No, I parked my car there. Fucking not anymore. Some fucking idiot took it. Oh my god, that was like very fucking stressful. But anyways, let's get to reacting.
Mother gave us this mission.
Humans have a...
God damn, that's loud. Yeah,
adapted to the most
that's very loud actually.
extreme environments on Earth.
Alright. One second. I need to put record. If I don't put record, that's gonna be a lot worse. Oh. What the hell? Yeah, that's alright. Actually. There you go. That was good. Alright. So we're going to be reacting to Extreme Environments That Give You Superpowers by Dumb Doggo. Alright, Dumb Doggo, let's see what you got.
Humans have adapted to the most extreme environments on Earth over thousands of generations.
Oh, that's good
And
animation
then
right here.
there's you. Me? And your only adaptation is this pudgy tubby. Let's see how you
Damn.
compare against real superhumans from extreme environments. Number
It's
7,
fucking talking about me.
superhumans of the deep sea. First, we're heading to the islands of Southeast Asia. And remember, the deep sea is very dangerous for regular people like you.
Alright.
Let's see how long you last. The moment your face hits the cold water, your diving reflex kicks in. Your heart rate slows by up to 25% to save energy. Your blood vessels constrict, redirecting blood to vital organs, and your spleen acts as a biological scuba tank, pumping extra oxygen-rich blood cells into your bloodstream. But despite all these amazing adaptations, you're dead. 2 minutes. Not bad, but not even close to the superhumans of the sea, the Summer Bajau people, who are
Sama Bajau.
the closest we have to Aquaman. They
Actually,
live a hunter-gatherer lifestyle and have been reported to be able to hold their breath underwater for over 10 minutes at a time.
10 fucking minutes. What the fuck? You were able to breathe underwater for 10 fucking minutes. How?
Spending a total of almost 8 hours a day submerged underwater. They have extremely low body fat, making them negatively buoyant, allowing them to run effortlessly across the seabed to hunt
They
fish.
can run
You, on the
underwater?
other hand, are extremely positively buoyant. As
Damn.
you go deeper underwater, pressure increases significantly, and diving deep too quickly can cause your eardrums to tear. Regular divers prevent this by gently blowing through their ears to equalize pressure, but the Summer Bajau say, who needs eardrums? They
the fuck?
purposely obliterate their eardrums at a young age, so they basically have no ear pressure problems. Only ear hearing problems. When you're underwater,
So they're fucking deaf. And also 10 minutes, isn't that like... If you have no oxygen... I'm sorry. If you have no oxygen for over 10 minutes, doesn't that mean that you're pretty much brain dead after a while? I thought that's how it worked.
for too long, carbon dioxide levels in your blood begin to rise. This triggers the body's panic reflex, causing you to take a fresh breath of water. The Summer Bajau, however, have a gene mutation that suppresses this reflex, allowing
Really?
them to stay calm underwater for longer. Other genetic
that's so
mutations
cool.
they have include a gene which provides increased constriction of their blood vessels, and one which gives them a spleen that's 50% larger than regular humans. Anyways, let's get out of here, because we got
Goddamn.
6 more superhumans to learn about. You know?
Dude, there's a real life Aquaman. There's this one guy that can go underwater for 10 minutes and come back and be just fine. Damn. That's fucking crazy to think about. 10 whole minutes. I can watch probably a whole episode of Smiling Friends and I'll be good.
Oh, you might not be some crazy genetic superhuman, but you do use one superpower every day, and that's Opera Browser, who's the sponsor of today's video. That one special tab in the 50, but really find what's annoying, and including anime, the in-match, interrupting Opera for sponsor of the jungle.
Alright. What was I gonna say? Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Video. Now, where were we? Number 6, Superhumans of the Jungle. Welcome to the African rainforest in the Congo Basin, where everything wants to either bite you, sting you, infect you, or eat you.
Yeah.
The thick rainforest canopy above blocks most sunlight, making it incredibly easy to get lost. The air is hot and very humid, to the point where your sweat can't even evaporate to cool you down. So instead, you continue to heat up, causing you to sweat some more, heat up, sweat, die of dehydration. But don't worry, the
that sucks.
superhumans of the rainforest are here to save the day.
Quality takes time,
Oh my god.
and we're in no rush.
What's up, Zach?
Check out this Echo.
They're
T-Mobile
probably being poor, you can't skip ads.
and it's just $35.
Standing at a
Damn.
mighty 4 feet and 11 inches tall, the African pygmies make their
What the
small
fuck?
stature their superpower. Being this small
How?
allows the pygmies to generate less heat and sweat, reducing the chance of dehydration, while
Oh.
also making it easier to navigate the dense undergrowth. In an environment where food is scarce, a compact body requires less resources to survive. But sometimes the pygmies stumble upon the ultimate jackpot, a beehive filled with delicious honey. But there's a catch. It's 40 meters meters up a tree. Armed with
40
nothing but an
meters.
axe and a loop of tree vine, the pygmies fearlessly scale the tree, hacking footholds in as they go. And after battling a bunch of bees, they finally secure the goods.
Food, finally.
Dude, that's great fucking determination. You're spending like a whole hour to get up a tree that's 40 feet tall with a wooden axe, no safety equipment, just your bare feet and the fucking axe that will help you climb all the way up. And then not even that, not even after you get up there, you have to battle all the fucking bees for you to actually even get the honey. That's dedication, because after one sting, I'm fucking dying. I'm falling down a tree.
To the next location. No, wait. Oh yeah, and like the video, it's free. Number 5, Superhumans of the Ice.
That's maybe.
We're zooming all the way out to the Arctic, where the warmest days are 10 degrees Celsius and the coldest days are minus 40 degrees Celsius.
40
When your
screen.
body temperature drops below 35 degrees Celsius, you start to experience hypothermia. First comes the shivering, and your blood vessels constrict to keep vital organs warm. But this causes your extremities to become too cold, making them freeze and die due to frostbite. At this point, your brain has probably started to fail too, causing confusion, memory loss, and maybe even some fun hallucinations. Some people get so delirious that they actually strip naked, which sure helps them keep warm. That's where the Superhumans of the Ice come in. You know it.
Yo, I've heard about that. I heard that like after you. Sorry, I've heard about that. That after a while, after you, I can't fucking speak. I've heard about that. Like after a while, if you're in a very cold weather, there's people that will hallucinate, and even though they're freezing cold, they could be like in Mount Everest and they just freeze. And for some reason, they decide to take all their clothes off. This is like an actual thing that they just take their clothes off and then they start just going inside of the fucking snow because they feel like it's warm, but your body's just so cold that the snow feels like room temperature for you. But once you get to that point, you're pretty much dead. There's no saving you once you get to that level of, I guess, freezing. Once you take your clothes off, that's it, you're dead. If that ever happens to you, just know, alright, your time has come.
People. Their short, stocky build minimizes surface area, helping them retain more heat. They also have more blood rushing through their fingers and toes, reducing the chance of frostbite freezing them off. By consuming fatty meat from seals and fish, they build up an insulating layer of fat. But while most people primarily have white fat, the Inuit people have an abundance of brown fat, which is packed with specialized mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, turning them into a human furnace. Because of all these adaptations, the Inuit people can maintain a metabolic rate of up to 200% higher than an average person, meaning they're able to maintain a toasty core temperature without even needing to shiver. But don't worry,
That's
the next
crazy.
location will definitely warm you up. Number 4, Superhumans.
Yeah, I have a question. Do you have to be born in these environments for you to be able to have those abilities, or can you just like go there and after you've been there for a very long time, like your body will adapt to it? I wonder if that's how it works, because I know your body can adapt to, for example, sleep in various ways, but what about when you're, I guess, in these environments, for example, like cold? Imagine being negative 40 degrees around you, but you're just warm. Your body feels just normal. Like, that's crazy to me. I don't know how the fuck people live in the desert. This is another thing. I don't know how they do it.
Of the desert. Now we're on the opposite side of the temperature spectrum, the scorching hot
Africa.
African desert, and you're giving us a lovely demonstration of hyperthermia in action. First comes the heat exhaustion, heavy sweating, rapid breathing, and your pulse racing. Your blood vessels also dilate, trying desperately to dump heat through your skin. But eventually you progress to heat stroke, where you become so dehydrated that you stop sweating entirely. Your organs start to fail and your brain starts shutting down,
Oh, hell no.
leading to confusion, aggression, seizures, and finally unconsciousness before you die. But these extreme conditions are no problem for the superhumans of the desert. The Maasai tribe. They average
Maasai
around
tribe.
6 feet tall and have longer, skinnier limbs that help with better heat dissipation through more surface area. They also have a crazy diet of raw meat, raw milk, and raw blood from
Oh my
cows,
God.
which helps them maintain their extremely low body fat and naturally lower body temperature. And their dark skin provides stronger protection against sunburn. All of these adaptations help them sweat and pee less than normal people to conserve water. And one more superpower is that these guys can jump super high. Looking a bit
Super.
thirsty there, aren't you? Well, let's get you something to drink.
Have you talked to your doctor about treatment
God.
options for adults with ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease symptoms?
Number 3.
I've seen these people like in certain YouTube videos. I think like a long time ago, I saw that they were able to like jump very, very fucking high. They also like run very quick, but on average to be 6 feet tall, that's very cool. See, I'm out here struggling being like 5'8", fucking. I guess I'm a tiny dude, but in reality I'm average. I don't know. I think society kind of like messed that up. But anyways,
Superhumans of poison. Next, we find
Superhumans
ourselves
of
in the
poison.
Andes Mountains at Uru Lake in Bolivia, which is known for being
Bolivia.
full of toxic arsenic. Arsenic naturally occurs in volcanic rock, but rain and mining operations release significant amounts of it into the surrounding rivers and lakes. And now that toxic arsenic is in you. First, your body tries to get rid of the toxins through both exits. Then comes the numbness, abdominal pain, and muscle cramps. With long-term exposure, your skin color changes, and lesions start popping up on your skin. You start developing hard patches in your palms and the soles of your feet, and not to mention the increased risk of cancer, diabetes, and heart problems too. So why isn't she dying yet? Well, that's because over thousands of
Uru
years, the
people.
Uru people have developed a genetic cheat code for poison resistance. The
Poison
AS3MG
resistance.
gene helps detoxify arsenic, allowing the Uru people to pee it out faster. So it spends less time in their body, meaning less harmful effects on their health. But rising pollution levels, frequent drying up of the lakes, and long-term exposure to arsenic have unfortunately forced many Uru people to abandon their homes in recent times. But I hope you're all hydrated now, because we're off to even higher mountains. Number 2, Superhumans of the Mountains. We're at
Okay.
Mount Everest Base Camp,
Where is this?
5,000 meters
Mount
above
Everest.
sea level. Well, I guess that makes sense, because at elevations of just 2,500 meters, many people start experiencing altitude sickness. The air up here is thin, and has way less oxygen than your body is used to, which leads to headaches, dizziness, and vomiting. And in extreme cases, fluid can build up in your lungs and brain, causing shortness of breath, severe confusion, and even death. Even being physically fit won't save you up here. Not that that's relevant in your case, but there have been instances where highly trained mountaineers have died from altitude sickness. The real superhumans are the ones that accompany these mountaineers, the Sherpa. They're able to pull in more oxygen than the average person due to their naturally larger lung capacity and faster breathing. A gene mutation also allows them to use this oxygen more efficiently, giving them superior stamina. It's for these reasons that the Sherpas are a necessity for people looking to summit Mount Everest. They lead the climbs, carry heavy loads, and provide first aid, all while your sorry butt is struggling to survive. But we made it though.
yo, I wonder how the fuck do you even get a job like that? For you to be constantly climbing Mount Everest and guiding people like up and down the mountain, having to carry their shit if they having to carry their shit, they just kind of like give up in the middle of climbing the mountain. How do you even get that job? And pretty much, no. And also, how much do they actually pay you for doing that type of job? Because that's a very, very dangerous job, first of all, and probably a very annoying fucking job.
Wow, look at that view. That's where we're going next. Number 1, Superhumans of Space. Our final destination,
Space, okay.
the International Space Station. In this zero-gravity environment, there's no load being placed on your body, so it says, hey, I don't really need me anymore, do I? And then it proceeds to turn your muscles to jelly and weaken your bones. Zero gravity changes your blood distribution too, giving you a balloon head and chicken legs. Even with our fancy
damn.
space station shielding, you're getting bombarded with over 50 times the radiation than on Earth. And because microgravity messes up how your digestive system works, you a lot more too. Ugh. Right now, there are no
I didn't know that.
superhumans that have genetically adapted to life in space. But rather than waiting for natural selection to take its course over thousands of years, let's borrow from all the superhumans we've met so far. In you go.
So how come we have people that are in space like very, very long periods of time? Like I think I've heard of people that being No, I think I've heard of people that have been in space stations for like a year, 6 months at a time. But I feel so bad for the first people that were out there, and then they found this out. Like they came back and their bones didn't fucking work, and their blood was fucked up, and a bunch of different health issues. Because being realistic, humans should not be in space. Humans should have never been in space to begin with. But here we are having space stations all the way up in Earth, in outer Earth. It's crazy.
First, we'll add a Sherpa in for genes for better oxygen efficiency, and a Summer Bajau in for superior breath-holding abilities. From the Maasai tribe, we'll grab the genes that help conserve water, but not the height genes. Can you sit down? Instead, we'll take the Pygmy's compact and lightweight build, as it requires less resources to sustain, and also saves on rocket fuel. We can't forget the mutations from this video, the DLX3 gene for indestructible bones, and the MSTN gene for super strength and muscle preservation. And for radiation resistance, there's research which shows that extra P53 genes help to repair and protect DNA from damage. And lastly, why not throw in some plant DNA too, to allow you to create food via photosynthesis.
Okay. Creative. I like that.
Back to space. Wakey wakey. How you doing?
I feel powerful, Double.
Oh yeah, I didn't fix your flatulence.
I see. Thank you, Double.
Ew.
See ya next time.
Watch this one next.
Okay, dude, that was a very interesting video. I did not know so many things about this video. But also, I found this so cool because there's so many, like, I don't know how to say it. I found it very interesting that there's, like, very, very special people in the world and they don't even know it. Like, they're blessed with, like, genetically mutated DNA that other people wish they had, but they just don't. They're pretty much, yeah, real life superheroes in a way. But yeah. Alright, that's gonna be annoying. Alright, stop recording. Alright, that video's done. Cool. Now let's go to our next video. That was such a good video.
If I were him, I'd bundle my home and auto and pick up the real victory.
All right. So we're going to react into why ancient ruins are underground by Primal Space. All right, let's see what we got.
This is what the Roman Forum looked like in 1864, and this is what it looks like today. When archaeologists started digging here, they uncovered an entire world of ruins deep underground that hadn't been seen for centuries. Over time, the city had risen by more than 10 meters, and older buildings had been completely forgotten about. All over the world, you'll find ruins that are slowly being left behind by the constant rise of the streets, and modern cities that have been built on top of old ruins. The ancient city of Troy was rebuilt 10 times, forming 10 distinct layers, all built directly on top of each other.
Holy
Even
shit.
the city of Seattle has an entire network of mysterious abandoned shops and houses buried beneath the modern streets.
Seattle.
But why are cities built on top of each other?
Where's this
Is
building?
the street level actually rising? And why does history always end up buried deep underground? We modeled the
I'm very
entire
curious about
thing
that.
to show you how civilizations build on top of each other. We'll also look at the crazy historical layers beneath Rome, these strange hills all over the Middle East, and the mysterious city purposefully buried beneath Seattle over 100 years ago. There is no single reason why cities are built on.
How old is fucking Seattle that they have an entire... How old is Seattle that they have an entire underground city or like secret buildings around their city? How old is Seattle? I'm curious now.
On top of each other. After the Great Fire of Rome in the 1st century, most of the city had to be rebuilt. But instead of clearing away the rubble, it was quicker and easier to simply flatten it out and build on top. This meant that new buildings were about a meter higher than the street. And so, to match the new height, the streets were raised and resurfaced, using rocks from the surrounding debris.
Oh,
With
makes
every
sense.
fire and natural disaster that occurred, this process would repeat itself, raising the city and leaving old ruins buried underground. One of the clearest examples of this is the Basilica of San Clemente in Rome. The structure we see today is from the 12th century, but it was built directly on top of an old church from the 4th century. That church was built directly on top of a mysterious old temple. And that temple was built on top of an old house. And there are even older
That's
ruins
crazy,
beneath
right?
that. All in all, the valley in which San
Like 4
Clemente
meters
lies is
in
now
600 years.
18 meters higher than it was
Or
in the
1,000
1st
years,
century.
actually.
Here's what happened. Back in 1st century Rome, before the Colosseum was built, a Roman villa sat at the bottom of the valley. After being damaged in a fire, it was converted into a temple by the Mithra people, a mysterious cult which was gaining popularity throughout Rome. But by the end of the 4th century, the temple was partially destroyed by the Christians. Looking to promote their religion, they decided to build a new basilica on top of the old temple. This basilica served the Christians for another 800 years. But by the 12th century, it fell into disrepair. After multiple fires and rebuilds around the basilica,
800 years,
the
that's pretty
street level
solid.
had risen considerably. And so instead of knocking it down, a new basilica was built on top. This is the one we see today. Eventually, the ruins beneath the basilica were filled in, and because no one kept track, all knowledge of the previous layers was completely lost. But in the 1800s, an archaeologist started digging and unearthed the old basilica with a staircase leading down to the 1st century temple. Inside was a Mithra shrine, and scrolled on the walls were paintings dedicated to the Mithra god and the logo of the Opera web browser.
What the fuck?
Just kidding. Opera is bringing a new era.
Oh wait, bro. Wouldn't that mess with the infrastructure of the whole building though? Wouldn't it like make it very unsafe if you had an entire fucking collapsed building built under your building? Like I would be scared if I had my house built under 4 other houses.
Of browse. I can score down control is start exploring entirely on old route of browsing. We've seen how Rome is built almost entirely on old ruins, but one of the best examples of a layered city dates back to a time long before Rome ever existed.
Troy.
All over the Middle East, you'll find these strange-looking hills with mysteriously flat tops. These are known as tells. Tel as in Tel Aviv, which used to look like this. These are artificial hills formed by centuries of civilizations building on top of each other. Inside each tell is a world full of old ruins lost in time.
That's fucking crazy. You have an entire like mountain that's covering up a city. So that means that there's like a lot of hidden things out there. It looks so fucking cool. First of all, what's at the bottom? And how old is that? And also, who had the bright idea to just dig all the way down there? That's very interesting.
Perhaps one of the most impressive of these is the ancient city of Troy, which first began as a small settlement back in 3000 BC. The buildings were mostly made from mud bricks, and when they were destroyed, the material decomposed and covered the ruins in soil. Then a new settlement came along and built on top. Over the following millennia, 8 more civilizations took over this mound, going from the Persians to Alexander the Great and eventually the Romans, up until the year 500 AD, when the nearby port dried up and the last civilization left the city. Eventually, the buildings crumbled back into the hill and the soil took over, making Troy a complete mystery until it was discovered in the 1800s.
So you have an entire city built on top of fucking like multiple cities. Well, first of all, how long do we think? So Troy was like an entire like small town that was built underground. So how long do you think a normal town, like I don't know, I don't want to say New York City or like Florida or Miami, but let's say that, yeah, let's just go with Miami. Let's say you're in the middle of like Miami. How many hundreds of years do you think it will take? Well, in this case, Troy was thousands, like almost 3,000 years. How much, no, how long do we think it would take for Miami to do the same thing? Because apparently this is inevitable.
In most cases, humans are the main cause of layered cities. But there is something we haven't talked about yet. What happens when buildings and cities literally sink into the ground? Did you know that Shanghai is currently sinking by around 1 centimeter every year? In fact, most major cities across China are all sinking. For centuries, the only way to get fresh drinking water was to pump it out of the ground. But by doing this, the pores that hold the water are emptied, causing the ground to compress and sink. This is a problem all over the world, but the soil beneath Shanghai is particularly soft, and with the sheer weight of all the skyscrapers sitting on top, the city has shrunk around 3 meters in the last century. When cities sink too much, they fall below sea level and end up completely lost. The only real solution to get above the water is to build on top. That is exactly what happened in Seattle. Although Seattle is only 175 years old, it already has an entire network of streets and abandoned buildings hidden beneath the modern city. In 1889, a devastating fire ripped through the newly formed city, and just like Rome, almost everything had to be rebuilt. The mayor took this as an opportunity to drastically improve the city's design, which already had huge problems with flooding. The idea was to raise the entire city and install drainage pipes underneath the streets, allowing the water to naturally flow out to the sea. To pull this off, 6-meter-high stone walls were built on either side of the streets, and roads were built on top. For a while, Seattle went through a weird phase with its buildings sat 2 stories below street level, and people had to descend on ladders to get to shops and houses. Eventually, the gaps were filled in and proper sidewalks were installed, leaving behind a well-preserved city right beneath Seattle's streets. And now, time for the Primal Space giveaway. The winner of the previous giveaway is...
Dude, just imagine you're like a shop owner, and then they do that shit to you, then no one comes into your fucking store just because they can't see the signs outside. I feel bad for that guy. But then again, it was necessary for like the city's foundation, I guess. But honestly, very interesting video. And honestly, I think that's the same thing that's happening in New York, where the city is sinking by like 1 centimeter a year or some shit like that. Or like 1 millimeter. I don't think it's a millimeter, but I think it's like probably a meter a year in New York City. I think it's the same problem as like Shanghai. So I think it's gonna take like maybe 2,000-3,000 years to have what happened to Troy happen to us. But yeah, amazing video, I loved it. And going on to the next one. All right. Let's watch one more video and then I'm gonna go to sleep. Kind of. Don't. I forgot this song. As long as it didn't mess up.
Jimmy.
Alright. Let's go to the next one.
Friday, wow, shop, Wayfair now, month, long big deals, yeah, these are steals. 70% less money spent.
When we hear...
Alright. Let's get it started. So we're going to be right into Dubai is a parody of the 21st century by Adam something.
Hear the word Dubai, most of us picture towering skyscrapers, immense wealth, police with Lamborghinis, 7-star hotels with the absolute cream of society inside them. Also the Palm Islands, the World Islands, the Burj Khalifa, the Burj Al Arab, futuristic symbols of incredible wealth. And so in light of all that, I'm here to make the case that Dubai, the Emirates, and the Gulf countries in general are one of the worst places on the planet. Now this is a rather bold claim, I realize, but it's one that I can substantiate fully. So let's take a look at what's really behind the glitz and glamour, the true face of Dubai and the Gulf countries. To better understand what's going on in a place like Dubai, first let's talk about Romania. In the decades following World War II, Bucharest, the capital, came to face the same problem as many Eastern European capitals did at the time. As urbanization increased and huge residential areas were built out, the need arose for new, high-capacity public transportation. And so Nicolae Ceausescu, the dictator of Romania back in the day, gave out the order to construct a metro line. And so the engineers created a line proposal and presented it to him. And then Ceausescu was like, "No, I will design the route personally." And so the former shoemaker assistant, who also called himself the genius of the Carpathians, I am not making this up, sat down and redesigned the entire metro line to have it run along the river underneath. Yes, along. But Nicolae Ceausescu's wife, Elena Ceausescu, a former textile factory worker, also got her fair share of planning. Reportedly, when the planners presented the final version of the metro line to the Ceausescu couple, Elena Ceausescu reportedly asked why the metro would stop inside the inner city at Piața Romana, inquiring what kind of factories there are. The planners told her there aren't any factories, but there is the Bucharest University of Economics where there are lots of students. Hearing that, Elena Ceausescu reportedly said, "Students? They've gotten fat, they grew a belly, they should walk. No station at Romana, let them walk." And so, since Nicolae Ceausescu added nothing to that and nobody else dared to oppose his wife, the station was axed from the plans. But of course everyone outside of the dictator power couple knew that this was fucking stupid. And so the engineers, having enough foresight, decided to build the station in secret, banking on the fact that they would need to build a station there anyway due to future public pressure. And they were correct. The end result was this ridiculous and dangerously narrow station, since the engineers couldn't build a normal station hall, since they had to disguise their little secret project as regular tunnel boring. And so the moral of the story is, smooth brain dictator plus construction equals dumb shit. And boy, what a perfect segue this is to the video's actual subject, Dubai. The city of Dubai is a fucking joke. It's a tasteless parody of everything wrong with modern humanity. And so why do I say that? Let's go through it, shall we?
The monument of idiocy.
Now, in my video about skyscrapers, I have already talked about the Burj Khalifa. It's a big dumb tower of glass and steel stuck in the middle of the desert, serving no other purpose than a petrodollar-fueled dick measuring contest. And the building even has its own poem about itself. Like seriously, how pretentious can you get?
I am the life force of collective aspirations and the aesthetic union of many cultures. I simulate dreams, stir emotions, and...
What the hell is that noise? Oh no, it's the poop trucks. Yeah, did you know that the Burj Khalifa isn't connected to its sewage system? So every single day a huge line of poop trucks have to queue up next to the building and suck out all the poop. So Amar's ambition and Dubai's shining...
That's fucking retarded. You have no fucking sewer system in the city. Not the city, but the fucking building. That's so fucking stupid. You have no sewer system in that fucking building. That's so nasty. Like, you can walk out and they're just taking the shit. Where do they even fucking take it, first of all? Now I'm curious about that. Where the fuck do they take it? Where does that end up going? It has to go somewhere. I don't know. Especially in Dubai. I don't know, it's just fucking weird.
Dream included the world's tallest skyscraper, but not a sewer system. And besides, I talked about this before in the skyscrapers video, there's actually not much point to building a skyscraper. Like, the only situation where it might make sense is when you're physically out of space. But trust me, Dubai does not have this problem, which ties into the next suspects.
Soon to be Atlantis? What does that mean? Oh, it's gonna
Dubai's
sink.
Palm Islands are the OG symbols of the city. The construction of the first one, the Palm Jumeirah, started in 2001, if you can believe that. And according to Google's satellite images, it's still not finished. It's still getting built out. And just for good measure, let's take a look at what they actually built here. I mean, these things do look nice from space, but what are they really from up close and personal? Well, the stem is an 8-lane urban freeway, and the leaves are just individual suburban streets. Oh, and there's also a monorail in the middle. Oh, and between The Point and Nakheel Mall, there are no stations. So then, how do people living on the leaves get on this thing? Well, it's a rhetorical question, of course. Just like the real suburbs in America, this thing was built around cars. And the second palm, the Jebel Ali, will be more the same. And then there are the World Islands, of course.
I mean, yeah, but bro, the people that fucking live in the palm, it's not cheap to live in those palm. I think that's what they call it, palm. In those houses out on the beach in Dubai, bro, it is not cheap at fucking all to live there. You expect someone to not have a fucking car, then they shouldn't be there. If you're in that fucking palm, it's because you have millions of fucking dollars. It's not going. People that live in that palm don't need buses. Why? Because they have private fucking. People that live in that palm don't need buses because they have private drivers that will take them anywhere they want, or they can just drive themselves. They will not need a fucking taxi. I mean, they might need a taxi, but that's besides the point. You don't need a bus station in that fucking little palm. I remember hearing that in some of those houses you will have like. I remember that in some of those houses it will cost like 25K to stay for just a month.
Which are just a complex of tiny islands for the ultra-rich and their villas. And
Alright, that's
oh my
stupid,
god,
though.
this looks outright post-apocalyptic.
Fuck is that?
Jesus Christ. Oh, and there's a third palm under construction if the two weren't enough. Oh, and by the way, the sand they use for the palms is not desert sand. They can't use it because the grains are too big. Instead, they have to get the sand from the seafloor. And they achieve this by sucking it up with these big tanker ships. And also annihilating acres of marine life in the process. Oh, and by the way, these palm islands were built on top of natural coral reefs, which they just ended up basically burying. Oh, and according to NASA measurements, all these islands are sinking at a rate of 5 millimeters per year. And by the way, have you heard about this thing called the rising sea levels? According to the Environment Agency Abu Dhabi, under the most severe climate change scenario, nearly all of Dubai, including the Palm Islands, would be underwater. Alright, so let me get this straight. You had all the money and power in the world to create anything, and you have paid money to annihilate a coral reef to build a sinking suburb on top of it. Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
I track progress toward my goals with Asana. See how you can too. Try it for free.
Chevy Silverado, America's #1 full-size pickup for initial quality and dependability.
And here's the kicker about these islands. That's right, I'm still not done. Why build them on the sea to begin with? I mean, you have the desert. You have all the space you will ever need. So why not just build the palms inverted into the land? You know, having the actual body of the palm not out of sand, but out of water. It would look just as impressive from space, and it wouldn't even demolish all the aquatic life. Hang on a second, they did do something like this already, just below the palm tree. And, oh no, these are American-style suburbs? Oh man. I can't believe it. They took the worst urbanism practices from the US and they implemented it one-to-one. And we actually have all the circles of urbanism hell in here. Copy-paste housing, cul-de-sacs, giant highways cutting through the area, no public transportation, a 12-lane arterial road, Jesus Christ. And so this will be our segue to...
Desert Futurama.
Dubai's urbanism in general is just complete bonkers. It's kind of its own little bubble, really. A strange little rich people's dystopia in the desert. Take a look at this arrangement. Two sections of skyscrapers separated by a 20-something lane freeway, and behind it a bunch of cul-de-sac suburbs and golf courses. It's this strange mixture between Futurama and evil Los Angeles. And this just makes me feel so frustrated because all that money and all that power, they could have done so much more and so much better than this. The way I understand it, the main motive behind building all this flashy stuff was to try and increase tourism, to help the Emirates economy transition away from oil revenues, which is, you know, fair enough. But then why not build something truly unique? Something that isn't just a big dumb tower of glass and steel, or a couple dozen suburban streets on sinking sandbanks, or gigantic malls or golf courses. Imagine a city with full-on historic Arabic gold.
I will say it is kind of very, very weird to have a golf course all the way out in the desert. Like when you're playing golf, like you want to go when there's like I don't know 70, 80, 90 degree weather. But in Dubai it's pretty much like 120 fucking degree weather. On a normal day. It's in the fucking desert. Why do people go out and play golf there? Doesn't make sense to me why you want to play golf there. and it's just a bunch of fucking sand. Like, it's not supposed to be grass in there.
Niche architecture with modern elements. Okay, this is concept art from Diablo 3,
Yeah,
but
Dubai's
you get the
retarded, never
idea.
mind.
I have seen skyscrapers, malls, suburbs, urban freeways, or golf courses before. What I haven't seen is a historical or at least historicist Arab city. That would be a great way of spending all those petrodollars, or at least a better way, I would say. And that might even attract a more quality crowd instead of the oligarchs, trust fund babies, and nouveau-riche idiots. Okay, that's a bit unfair, but Dubai right now is not exactly a haven of intellectualism, so to speak. By the way, did you know that only 10% of the Emirates population is actually Emirati? The other 90% being immigrants and expats. Well, actually, they're all immigrants. It's just that white people came up with this word expat, so they don't have to call themselves immigrants abroad because that word is reserved for brown people. Speaking of which...
Slave state? What do you mean?
And this right here is my biggest problem with Dubai, the Emirates, and the Gulf states in general. All that luxury, wealth, and opulence you see all around you in Dubai rests on a mountain of human tragedies. Poor people from third world countries such as India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh are lured in by work agencies promising high wages and stable employment. People take loans from friends and family so they can cover the costs of their travel and work visa, usually more than $2,000, despite Emirati law requiring the companies to pay for those. Upon arrival, workers' passports are often confiscated, essentially trapping them inside the country. Workers are forced to work up to 12-hour shifts, up to 7 days a week, for $175 per month on average. Wage arrears are common, many workers not receiving money for months on end. To quote from a Human Rights Watch report, the impact on workers whose wages are withheld for even 1 month is very serious. They immediately fall into arrears on the death day of recruiting agencies in their home countries. They incur additional interest, and they are unable to send money home for their families who depend on their income earned in the Emirates. In some cases, the non-payment of wages means that workers do not have money to buy food or basic goods and end up borrowing money just to survive. The COVID epidemic only made things worse. That and the oil price crashing left many workers jobless. Consequently, many were abandoned by their former employers. They now spend their days in half-abandoned worker camps on the outskirts of the city. Only volunteers and their food donations standing between them and starvation. A Guardian article quotes a construction worker called Hassan. He says, "Guests on and off visit and give something, but when nobody comes, we have to starve. We have nothing." All this just a few kilometers away from the 7-star hotels, the world's tallest skyscraper, the world's biggest mall, and the golf courses for rich foreigners. According to the...
That's really fucking sad, dude. You have millionaires, billionaires, and just fucking maybe a trillionaire every now and then that go visit the fucking city. And there's people starving. But my thing is, how is it possible that they don't have crime in Dubai when there's people that struggle like that? Like, what's stopping them from committing crimes? Whatever like stops them, but we need to copy and paste that shit in like dangerous cities. Put that shit up in Venezuela or some shit like that.
The estimates of the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, between 2012 and mid-2018, more than 10 Indian workers died in Gulf countries every single day. And these are just the Indians. In addition to that, a Jezebel article goes on to say that at least 2 Indians commit suicide every single week in the Emirates. A number, they say, that is simultaneously both shocking yet unsurprising. They show photos of the accommodation the workers have to endure, unfit even for animals. A harsh contrast to Instagram's parallel universe. They call this system modern slavery, and I'm afraid they are correct. This and the previously mentioned issues, but especially like this, is why I hate the Emirates and especially fucking hate Dubai.
Dude, I thought Dubai was nicer than this. Dubai sounds fucking horrible now. First of all, the streets are horrible. Not that they're horrible, they're just like not like... They're not like Barcelona. Barcelona is one of the best fucking design cities in the world. But...
the city of Dubai is a fucking joke. One that's unusually cruel. It's a twisted parody.
I've heard of many like bad things that end up happening in Dubai. For like example, like models that go and try to meet rich people. Like I've heard some very, very, very weird shit that goes on in Dubai. And honestly, I don't know what to say to you. It kind of looks better. It kind of looks better than it actually is. It's like you think grass is greener think grass is greener on the other side. But then when you get to the other side, it's just kind of like artificial grass. It's not real grass, you know? Turf. It just looked nicer from across the fence, you know? But, I don't know, now I have second thoughts about Dubai. Especially that fucking tower back there, the Burj Khalifa. No fucking sewer system? Oh my god.
Of everything wrong with modern humanity. I'll leave you with a poem from Bertolt Brecht, written in 1935, titled Questions from a Worker, who reads, Who built Thebes of the Seven Gates? In the books you will read the names of kings. Did the kings haul up the lumps of rock? And Babylon, many times demolished, who raised it up so many times? In what houses of gold glittering Lima did its builders live? Where, the evening that the Great Wall of China was finished, did the masons go? Great Rome is full of triumphal arches. Who erected them? Over whom did the Caesars triumph? Had Byzantium, much praised in song, only palaces for its inhabitants? Even in fabled Atlantis, the night that the ocean engulfed it, the drowning still cried out for their slaves. The young Alexander conquered India. Was he alone? Caesar defeated the Gauls. Did he not even have a cook with him? Philip of Spain wept when his armada went down. Was he the only one? Every page. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry the video.
I don't know what the fuck that last part was, but anyways. Dude, this fucking camera, dude. Should put a different angle, but anyways. Dude, I feel so bad for people in Dubai. Like those workers that end up committing suicide because they got fooled into like a promised dream. And then the worst part is that they can't even fucking leave afterwards because they just take their stuff. But, I don't know. Rich people will find a way to get this shit done. So, what can I say? Amazing video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Do we have people watching? No, we don't have people watching. Alright. See you guys.